Hello everyone, the Big Easy Chef here. Today we're going to be making that favorite, pork and beans. We're not going to just be opening a can, we're going to make these beans from scratch. Pork and beans are very tasty and they make the perfect side dish for so many different foods. Or throw some cut up hot dogs in them and you have a great meal. So let's not waste any more time. Why don't you and I run into that kitchen and see what's a-shakin' and get to baking. Let's start with 2 pounds of great northern beans. The first thing you want to do is check your beans for anything that doesn't belong in the beans, such as dirt, rocks, or just beans that don't seem to be right. I like using a black background when checking white beans. This makes them stand out and easy to sort. Okay, now that we have our beans sorted, throw out the bad ones. Next, place your good beans in a strainer and rinse them with hot water. Now that your beans are sorted and clean, place your beans in a large pot. Add to the beans about 48 ounces of cool water. Make sure the beans are completely covered. Add enough water to have a couple of inches of water above the beans. Now this is very important. You should at this point only have beans and water in the pot. Don't use any salt or anything else at this point. Using salt at this point will cause your beans to remain hard. Place your pot of beans on a burner. Turn the heat on to high. Bring your beans to a boil. Once the beans are boiling, reduce the heat down to maintain a medium to low boil. These beans are going to need to cook for about an hour on a medium to low boil. You want the beans to become nice and tender, sort of al dente. Check on your beans once in a while and stir the beans. Okay, now these beans have cooked for 50 minutes and they are perfect. You can see that when I smash the beans with a fork, they are tender and they don't turn to mush. This is the way you want your beans to turn out. Now drain your beans. You don't need to rinse them. Just drain the water off of the beans that they were cooked in, as it's full of starch. Place the beans in a large crock pot. Add 48 ounces, 6 cups of cool water. Next add 1/2 cup of chopped yellow onions, or any sweet onion. Now here's a tip. When you're chopping your onion, or as far as that goes, anything that's round, tomatoes, hard-boiled eggs, potatoes, meat, etc. Once your onion is peeled, cut a little bit of the onion. This gives the onion a flat surface, so that your onion doesn't roll while you're cutting. It makes for a stable platform to slice or chop the onion, making it a lot safer. And you always want to be safe when you're using a knife. Remember to keep your fingers tucked under when slicing. This saves your fingers. And always use a sharp knife. Okay, with your onion added to the beans, toss in 3/4 cup of dark brown sugar. Drop in 4 strips of bacon cut into small pieces. Now add to the beans 1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice. 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves goes in the beans. Dump 1 teaspoon of dried mustard. Throw in 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper, a 29-ounce can of tomato sauce. Give this mixture a good stir or two, just enough to mix everything up. Now you can see this crock pot is pretty full at this point. I know the beans look watery, but after they cook, they're going to look just like the beans you buy in the can, but tasting a lot better. Turn your crock pot on to high and cook for 2 hours. After 2 hours have passed, turn the crock pot down to low and cook for another 6 hours. Now these beans are done cooking, and they are just perfect. They look better than the ones that you get in the can. You can call Mr. Vandekamp and tell him he's been canned. So you know what time it is. It's time to dig in. You're going to have to trust me. These beans taste really good. Now to go a step farther, try frying some bacon nice and crispy, and then crumble it on top of these beans. Oh, this tastes really good. Or if you're thinking about turning these beans into a meal, how about some cut up hot dogs added to these beans? Oh, there you have it. Now you can make the perfect pork and beans. So I hope you'll try some soon. Check out my website for free printable recipes and instructions. No email or password is required. No obligations. So check it out. Remember what they say, you are what you eat, so eat healthy. Until next time, I am the Big Easy Chef.